Ranged infantry are probably the most powerful unit type in the game. They can deal incredible amounts of damage, taking out everything from infantry to giants, all from the safety of the back line. But it does beg the question, which ranged units are the best? Well, let's count down the top 10 and find out. And thanks to War Thunder for sponsoring the video, more on that later. Coming in 10th place we have the Zombie Pirates Gunnery Mob Handgunners. Kicking off the list we have the same units as the last time I made a video like this, and I'm honestly kind of surprised that they made it. We've had a lot of new very powerful ranged units added in the last couple of years, and somehow I still think these are one of the best bangs for your buck in the game. They are dirt cheap and can be recruited from the first couple of turns, either from settlements, ships, or just raising the dead. They're 120 entities strong with medium range and, for their stage of the game, very respectable armor piercing damage. With that many guns shooting at once, they could be launching actual Ps and put some good pressure on enemies, but 20 armor piercing damage is pretty significant and will cut down pretty much anything that could come your way without too much trouble. Add on a 30% bonus to both armor piercing and base damage whilst at high ammo from their Black Powder Aplenty passive, and they're an extremely deadly unit right from their first shot. Now, if they get charged by cav, or honestly, if there's a strong breeze and they lose their footing, they're going to go down pretty much instantly. No melee stats, very low leadership combined with the whole undead thing means they're extremely easy to kill if something can close the distance. However, if you shoot them to ribbons before they can, then they're not half bad and a very strong unit to start this list. Coming in 9th place we have Rattling Guns. Rattling Guns are probably my favourite ranged unit because of just how absurd they are. They're a unit of rats with miniguns launching warpstone in barrages so large they make my graphics card smell like gunpowder. How can you not love that? However, whilst I do love them and my heart wants to put them higher, I have to face the facts. They're great, and whilst they're shooting they deal phenomenal damage that can put anything down before long. They have great armor piercing and suppression, meaning enemies will inch closer and get picked apart the whole time. However, that 5-second reload time means they'll run through their 15 ammo in no time. If they're shooting the entire time, they can run out in just over a minute, and even with how fast Warhammer 3 battles can be, that's not a lot of time. And these aren't like flamers where their barrages are so devastating that they only need a few. No, these want to focus fire on units and chip them down over the course of a few barrages throughout the entire battle. Once out of ammo, they are essentially useless since they are slow, bulky, and can't fight anything, so they'll need to leave the battlefield or die trying. If you are using Ikit Claw and can get them infinite ammo, then they are goated. However, without it, I'm afraid they're simply great, which is all well and good, but not enough to top the list. However, if you're looking for the next game to top your playlist, then you should check out War Thunder, the most comprehensive vehicular combat game ever made. In-game, you can take control of over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters and ships ranging from the first combat biplanes of the 1920s to the modern battleships of today. Not only are all of these vehicles visually detailed, they all feel and sound the part to totally immerse you in the battlefield no matter what you choose. You'll be able to target weak points on enemy vehicles and protect your own to maximize your combat efficiency. There's no health bars to be found, just raw mechanics, meaning keeping your vehicle and crew safe will be essential for your success. But if this is all sounding a little bit intense, then rest assured that War Thunder has a variety of game modes for every kind of player. Whether you're after the fast-paced and forgiving arcade or the brutal tactical challenge of simulation, or something in between, you'll find a way to play that works for you. And as if all of that wasn't enough, you can also customize your vehicles with a countless number of camo patterns, decals and decorations, ranging from the historically accurate to the very much not. All of this is available for the low price of $0, 100% free on PC and consoles, and even mobile. This mobile version is still a full combat experience by the way, so don't be expecting some watered down version just because you can take it on the go. So if you want to take a trip through military history, dominate the battlefield with superior strategy, and immerse yourself in tactical combat, check out War Thunder at the links below and learn why over 95 million players call this place home. And as a massive bonus, new and returning players on PC and consoles will get the Eagle of Valor decoration, 100,000 Silver Lions, 7 days of premium, and much more as a little extra treat for hopping back in. So one more time, sign up to play War Thunder at the link in the description, claim a bunch of free bonuses, and immerse yourself in unparalleled combat realism. A huge thank you to War Thunder for sponsoring the video, and now back to the list. In 8th place we have Great Swords Shades, another staple of lists like these, and even with how much the Dark Elves need an update, and wow, they really need it, Great Swords Shades are still a damn fine unit. They have medium range, within which they deal decent armor-piercing damage. It's nothing insane, but given they have a curved firing arc, it's pretty dang good. Their ammo is a little low, but Shades can do a lot more than just shoot. They're also pretty great in melee with very strong melee stats and plenty of armor piercing. They may not go toe to toe with actual melee units, but they can defend themselves pretty well and deal some great damage to anything weaker. This combined with their vanguard deployment and stalk makes them excellent ambushing infantry. It allows them to find a hiding spot, shoot enemies to ribbons, and fight off most things that come to shut them down. The only things holding Shades back are their shorter range and lacking missile power compared to other units on the list. They're still great, but if we're judging ranged infantry, there are simply better units out there. In 7th place we have the Warplug Jezzails, and I go back and forth on this unit a lot. Some days I let their small entity count and occasionally wonky firing arc convince me that they're not all that great. Other times I see that disgusting range and tasty armor piercing damage and believe that maybe they could be. They must have caught me on a good day because today I want to include them. So as I said, the main attraction here is the crazy range and very spicy damage. Their relatively straight line of fire does mean they'll need some elevation or a larger target to easily land shots, but if you can manage either of these, they really are the snipers that they look like. This makes them great for focusing down single entities like massive units or even lords and heroes. Even shielded units have viable targets with their shield breaker missiles, punching through block chance with ease. They don't have the most ammo, but their slower firing rate does mean they're unlikely to run out over the course of your average minute-long battle. Now the elephant in the room is just how useless they are in melee and their smaller entity count. It's true, if they get attacked in melee they are guaranteed dead, and yes, their barrages are smaller than some other units, making their burst damage a little weaker than it could be. But you're essentially getting a sniper artillery piece, so I think these are a totally fair trade-off for a very powerful and unique unit. Way Watchers are the oldest unit on this list, and they've been cracked since all the way back in Warhammer 1. The elite of the Wood Elf Archers are really the ultimate skirmishing units, and everything in their kit reinforces this playstyle. To get the point of the video out of the way first, they have very strong range with a curved firing arc along with very powerful armor piercing damage for what are essentially arrows. They can pick apart infantry or large targets with ease and can do it from practically any angle, so they're already off to a strong start. Then we have Hawkish Precision, which gives that damage a nice 15% bonus to both base and armor piercing when enemies are no closer than 70 meters away, which should be a piece of cake with that 190 meter range. Then for their skirmishing power, they can fire on the move, hide in any terrain, and even use vanguard deployment to start on a flank. Add on their high speed and not much can catch them, especially if they keep to the trees. If they do get caught in melee, they're pretty worthless and their low armor makes them susceptible to enemy ranged, but aside from that, if you can manage their positioning well and pick key targets for them to shoot at, you should have a blast. In 5th place we have the Grudge Rakers. It's pretty funny that the first DLC the dwarves got after the Chaos Dwarves, they were given blunderbusses but better. Like yeah, the Chaos Dwarves may have this crazy complex campaign and are most likely the most broken race in the game, but the OG Dwarves, they got some cool stuff too. Anywhomst, the Grudge Rakers are the shorter range variants of the regular Thunderers. This sacrifice of range grants them a massive amount of damage in the form of some crazy shotgun blasts of power. Each projectile doesn't actually do that much damage, with 2 and 6 base and armor piercing damage respectively. However, with 3 projectiles per shot and 2 shots per volley, it quickly adds up and deals a crazy amount of burst damage that's enough to kill or at the very least shake the confidence of whatever they shoot at. The height of dwarfs also allows them to slightly shoot over the heads of their melee infantry, but this isn't without its risks. Most enemies may be taller, but shotgun blasts rarely fly in a straight line, so larger targets or off angles are the way to use them the most safely. Still, if you can manage to not Lenny the rest of your army, they're a truly devastating unit and come with everything else that's great about the dwarves. Not much damage in melee, but with their defense and armor, they are damn hard to put away, even if they do get flanked. Avoid this if you can, and blast away anything that gets close, and you can't go wrong. In 4th place we have the Fireglaves. Whilst the regular Dowie may have the better blunderbusses, the Dowizar undoubtedly have the better final form ranged infantry. Fireglaves have the same range as Dwarf Thunderers, but double the damage and more ammo, and they're strong in melee and set things on fire. Their missile power is mostly armor piercing, so can cut through the toughest targets with ease. With their medium range and mostly short compatriots, they will have no problems firing on approaching enemies, whether they are regular person heights or anything larger. Plus, the addition of fire damage, whilst niche, counters healing and can give them an extra punch versus vulnerable targets. On the melee side of things, they are hardly endgame front lines, but they're not far off. They're on the same level as Longbeards from the dwarves, and whilst they're nothing crazy, for a unit with so much missile power too, it's not half bad. They can keep themselves alive pretty well with high defense and armor, plus they'll do some great armor piercing damage with a little fire and anti-large bonus as a treat. They really can do it all and are probably the best hybrid weapons unit in the game. However, they're not quite on the podium because whilst other units may not be as strong in melee, if you are that good from a range, then it hardly matters. In third place, the Nuln Ironsides, which may not appear all that different to Fireglaves when you first look at them. In fact, comparing the stat cards, they actually have a little less missile strength alongside all melee capabilities, so why are they higher on the list? Well, dear viewer, in such a close race, it can come down to something that seems minor, and in this case, it's the Black Powder Discipline passive. When Ironsides have been stood still for 10 seconds, they gain bonus accuracy and reload speed, and with that, they become snipers with a very fast rate of fire and excellent armor piercing damage. Accuracy is one of those stats that's mostly hidden from players, but it can make a huge difference in how deadly a unit is depending on what you're aiming at. For large targets, it's more marginal, since they're pretty easy to hit and only a few shots will miss each time, but for smaller single entities like lords and heroes or even just regular infantry, higher accuracy will give you a huge boost and allow you to really burst things down. Add on some improved reload speed and their damage drastically goes up without burning all of their ammo over the course of your average battle. With 30 in reserve, they are unlikely to run out unless you're in a much longer battle than usual, or they are firing for the full duration. As I said, they may be worthless in melee, but if you can keep them safe, stationary and shooting, they really are incredible. In second place we have Poisoned Wind Mortars, and these are a unit that lies to you. I know that seems like an inherently Skaven thing to do, but it's more about how the game displays explosive damage in the unit cards. Regular missiles deal base and armor piercing damage, and this affects whatever they make contact with. Explosive missiles also deal base and armor piercing explosive damage, which affects anything in that explosion's radius. This means that whilst Poisoned Wind Mortars may deal a total of 28 explosive damage, this can impact a huge number of units at the same time, depending on your targets. All of this is to say that Poisoned Wind Mortars are probably the best infantry killers in the game, and they can do it from basically any angle with one of the steepest firing arcs that you can find. It doesn't matter if the enemy is hidden behind terrain, settlement walls, or even your own front lines, these guys will find a way to land a shot and blow them to pieces. With their gargantuan range, they're essentially an artillery piece, so can be blowing enemies apart before they even get close. And like I said, they can fire over anything, so they don't even really need to worry about positioning all that much. They're not perfect, however. Obviously, most ranged units are bad in melee, but these are a special breed of terrible. They are slow, bulky, and have no melee stats, so can neither fight nor run away very well. They need to be kept away from flankers at all costs, otherwise things get dicey real quick. They also have a very slow fire rate, so if you are lucky, you'll get 3 barrages off before enemies make contact. They also don't have a ton of ammo, so you want to really make sure you pick your shots wisely. But most of all, they are quite bad versus larger targets. Their damage relies on multiple entities being hit at the same time, so a giant single entity is pretty much unaffected. Still, even with all of these downsides, they are one of the best units in the game for wiping out crowds and hordes and tides and other words that mean the same things of infantry that you can find. If enemies clump, then it is pretty much a free victory, no matter where they try to run and hide. To spice things up in 2026, we've also got some honourable mentions before we get to that first place. Chaos Dwarf Blunderbusters are very similar to Grudge Rakers from the Dwarves, and whilst they are probably deserving of being directly below them, I figured that would be pretty boring to both write and hear about. Deck Gunners from the Vampire Coast are a crazy strong unit, but with only 36 entities, their damage output is quite limited, and they are so easy to kill from a range that it's honestly quite sad. Plus, they always seem to be struggling for an angle when I use them, so can be quite inconsistent with their damage output. And Ogre Leadbelchers live in the same sort of camp where they deal great damage but are quite easy to take down with their larger size and slower speed, especially compared to the other ogres. And in first place, it's Sisters of Avalon. Honestly, I'm getting sick of making videos like this and seeing what new units join the lineup and shake things up, only to have the same conclusion every time. Sisters of Avalon are just so cracked, and I don't think they'll ever be surpassed because I think it's one of the few lessons that CA have learned not to make units like this. They may not seem all that scary from their unit card, but in practice they are destroyers of worlds as well as enemy units. It doesn't matter if it's something big, something small, something armored, something resistant, whatever the enemy sends at you, the answer is always focus fire from Sisters of Avalon. With armor piercing, magical fire damage, they cover all bases and cut through any and all defenses with with ease. With high range and a steep firing arc, they can shoot from the safety of the very back lines behind the rest of your army, which should honestly be more sisters because you really don't need anything else. If they get caught in melee, they're not great, but they can certainly defend themselves okay and put up a decent fight. Against armor, they're not going to do a lot of damage, but they can keep themselves alive no problem until help arrives, and by help, I of course mean a barrage from a Nova Sisters of Avalon unit. That said, if anything manages to get close to them, you've probably not been focus firing correctly, so it really is fair enough and kind of a skill issue. They're the best unit in the High Elves, one of, if not the best unit in the game, and undoubtedly the best ranged infantry unit, and will likely stay that way unless CA truly go insane. But what I want to know is, what's your favourite ranged unit in Warhammer 3? We all know that sisters are the best, so you're not disputing that, but what tickles your pickle in just the right way? Let me know in the comments below. Once again, thank you to War Thunder for sponsoring the video. Don't forget to sign up and play for free at the links in the description. Remember, new and returning PC and console players will receive a huge bonus pack with premium time, silver lions, vehicle decorations, and more, so grab it while you can. Won't be available forever, so get to it. And if you want more videos like this, check out this video counting down the top 10 Warhammer 3 mods I played in 2025.